100 years, St. Mary's Medical Center has upheld the mission of the Palatine Sisters. The St. Mary's staff celebrating now the centennial with a look back at the legacy of St. Mary's. Reverend Greg Creasy joins us now to talk more about this. So this is exciting.
Oh, it's been a wonderful process to learn about the history and just to celebrate what has happened.
Yes.
Yes.
And what a history it has been.
Yes.
Let's start off with and talk about the gathering that you had at St. Mary's this afternoon.
Sure. We had the release for our centennial edition of our history called The St. Mary's Story. It's also St. Vincent Pallotti Feast Day in the Catholic Church, and so that's an exciting thing for our sisters.
Yes.
The reason we had it this day was because of that, because we wanted to make sure that we celebrated them and their founder and just the charism that he had that brought them to Huntington, which lets us continue to work and serve in that same way.
Definitely there, and the book is fabulous.
Yes.
The pictures, amazing. So talk a little more. I know you've got some interesting stories to share, and we can really get into it here.
Well, the sisters came to Huntington in 1924, but they first came to America in 1912, and they had purchased tickets to come across the Atlantic on the Titanic.
The Titanic.
The Titanic. And the day before they were to leave, one of the sisters found that her paperwork was not in order. There was something wrong with her paperwork. So they all decided to wait and go. And of course, we know the fate of the Titanic.
Right.
They ended up having to go to another city to get on another ship, and they actually passed through the wreckage of the Titanic about 6 days after the wreck itself, and so it's very traumatic.
Right.
There's a picture we have too of an iceberg that was taken on the Brahman, which is a ship they came across on. Arrived in New York, waited there for a little bit, and then when they were traveling to Stella Niagara, New York, they were supposed to go by train, and they got delayed again. And the original train they were scheduled to be on, there was an accident that derailed. There were several people killed. So there were two pretty phenomenal stories of how God protected them in order to get to the place where they were going to land.
Where they needed to be.
Where they needed to be.
Right
That's
here.
exactly right.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. And is that story in here as well?
The stories are in there, as well as others of just the tremendous sacrifice that they've made, the work that they've done. You know, even the story getting to West Virginia is pretty amazing. Because,
how did they end up here?
Well, there was a priest from Richwood who was looking for some sisters to help and support a school that he'd started at Holy Family Church in Richwood. And he heard about the Palatines that had come. They were looking for a place to minister. And so when he talked to them, they felt like this is where we're supposed to be. So they came from New York to Richwood and began that work there, which got their footing in West Virginia, and that work just continued to grow. And they actually started a hospital the next year. That was in 1913. They opened a hospital in Richwood. And
think about all the people who have come through those hospital doors.
Oh, yes.
Through the hospital.
Oh, yes. So many in our community. That's why we want to talk about the story and encourage people to read it and just to support it in that way, because it is a phenomenal story. And the fact that we're still here and still able to do the work that we're able to do in caring for the sick and the needy here in the community.
It says a lot about what these women were so determined to start.
Oh, yes.
And all those obstacles that got in their way that brought them right here to our area.
Yes, very much so.
That is fascinating. Okay, so I know a lot of people will want to be looking through here because they'll remember, you know, they were born at the hospital or very important moments happened through the hospital. How do they get one of these copies? So
I think we'll have a link on this segment and also probably on your website, but it's through the Mountain Health Foundation. So if you can click there, you can order a copy. You can also pick it up if you're at the hospital at our gift shop.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be available there. And so we're going to have lots of copies, and so they can call us or just get a hold of us.
Lots of ways. And to read about the place that has been, you know, Such an important place in our community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure has been.
Well, Reverend Creasy, this is fascinating, and what a story, a real story that you told us here today. Thanks so much for sharing it with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.